So we gotta talk about Love and Marriage DC season 2, episode 6. Okay. Now, last week I gave Love and Marriage DC a 10 out of 10, a perfect score for the perfect episode, right? And when you get a 10 out of 10, it is very difficult for the next episode to also be a 10 out of 10. Now, this episode to me, I'm going to give it my original score was to give it an 8. And then as I thought about it, as I'm sitting right here now processing, I'm going to give it an 8.5. It was a good episode, don't get me wrong, but it just underscored several things that I feel like could have been done better. And I'm going to review those things with you right now. For me, again, it was a good episode. Do not get me wrong. I enjoyed it. However, this is what I would change. So for me, I felt like this episode hyped up the Say That Ish Ponderosa that Ashley was having a la Jackie Christie. Okay. I mean, Ashley wanted to have a Ponderosa with all the ladies, and it made sense. The timing of it was perfect. However, I felt like I wish it had not been hyped up at the end of the previous episode because we didn't really get the Ponderosa. We got like the intro to the Ponderosa at the end. To me, the highlights of the episode should have been, and I'm speaking mostly about the previews from the prior week, the sit down between Ashley and Winter and the guys' conversation at the baseball hitting range or whatever they were at. Also, I think that this episode underscores the fact that I feel as though, in order to make this story a bit more complete, that Sherelle and Black should have been made main cast members so that we could truthfully get a better idea of what is happening with this story with Joy and with Black. Because it is really a deep situation that I want to know more about. I mean, it has led to this woman hating this man, okay? And we see also conversations between Ashley and Winter about their friendship with Sherelle and how important she is to both of them, okay? Particularly for Ashley. And so I just feel like it they are such a big part of the story that why would you not make them full-time cast members? So maybe it was budget, I don't know. But what I will say is when you saw that the threads were coming together in this way, at this point, oh, what we doing, baby? What we doing? You know what I'm saying? Because they are integral parts of the story. And I feel like listen, I know some people could say, well, Sherelle, you've known her for ages, so that's probably why you say it. No, I am looking at the telling of the stories. That is what I'm basing this on. And to me, it would help fill in the gaps if we got more of them, right? So those are my complaints about the episode. I did feel like we got some trickery with this whole Ashley Ponderosa situation that she was having because I felt like y'all should have saved that for next week in its entirety. Okay, in its entirety. Do not make me believe that I'm going to get some type of, real sit down Ponderosa if I'm not going to get it. So that is why I had to take away a point. I did because I hate being disappointed. All right, so let's get down into the nitty gritty. Now that I've given you guys all of that diatribe, we start off with, again, we leave where we left off. Arena and Sherelle arguing in the streets of Baltimore, okay? On Shady Side Street, a.k.a. Quicksilver Lane, okay? Quicksilver Drive, all right? Quicksilver Corner, if you will. All right, so Arena is yelling, girl, your friends don't even like you or want to be or want to be around you. And so Ashley is, coming in on the bike of this and thinks that Arena went too far and that she should have stayed out of it. I said on the bike of this because I feel like Ashley wasn't really present for the conversations that Arena has been having with Joy and with Sherelle. So she's kind of clueless as to like what's really going on. All she know is that her husband's event is being ruined by these two ladies screaming at each other at the top of their lungs. Now, they do manage to have a much more calm conversation in this episode. And, you know, even Arena has to admit, it sounded as though she was labeling Sherelle's husband Black as shady because of the way she phrased it in last week's episode, if you go back and watch, which again, I thought was hilarious. Not that the insinuation that he's shady is hilarious, but the way she said it was. So she apologizes because she admits she does not know this man. But when the producers ask her, well, why did you say that Sherelle's friends don't even like her? She just chuckles and she says that she's not going to say. Now, see, we got to talk about that real quick because that's one of those little moments that's real blink and you miss it, but it means more than what we're being led to believe, because it makes me believe that behind the scenes there's some talk about Sherelle amongst the girls. Okay. And if not the girls on the show, then some other girls. I don't know. But that's the way it came across to me. So I feel like that needs to be investigated further or at the reunion. But if they're gonna do this whole two-part situation, we may not get a reunion until December. I don't know. On again, I know I sound critical, but I want the best for these shows. I really do. And making me wait 12 months for a reunion is not the business. It's not. It's not. Because by then I have forgotten what I've seen. I have. Because I've seen so much. All right. So they agree that Arena will talk to Joy, and Ashley doesn't want to hear anything else about this situation. So Ashley and Quick meet up for breakfast. They recap the street naming and how it was almost perfect until Sherelle and Arena got into it. And it really all boils down to Joy and Black. Okay. Quick is annoyed because his grandmother and the elders were there. Okay. And these people are yelling and screaming and arguing in front of the elders. Okay? Not in front of the elders. That is what you will not do on Quicksilver Drive. All right, so he wants to have a conversation with the guys. Ashley wants to have a conversation with the ladies. And that is what they shall do. All right, so Mama T, aka Arena's mama, is having a birthday party. Arena is throwing it for her, and it is all horses and cowboy boots, okay? And so Joy arrives, and Arena, of course, is like, they're all like, when are you getting married, girl? And when is the baby coming? All right. When is all of these things happening? And Joy is like, I just came here to dance. And so there's some talk about whether or not Mama T is to blame for, you know, Arena and Jamie not getting down more in the bedroom and the boudoir. Mama T said it ain't her fault if she down the hall. She can't hear what they doing in between the walls. So anyway, Ashley arrives and Arena pulls her and Joy outside because she wants to clear the air about the whole situation from the Quicksilver Way naming. And so, you know, Ashley feels like Arena needs to learn how to walk away from certain situations. And Joy says, well, Arena was spitting facts. How? How, Sway? Arena basically had conveyed a message that you conveyed. Okay. She summed up your message and used another word instead of shady. She used shady instead of the words you actually used, which, if we go back to the episode, you did then use the word shady. I got a little issue. Joy, to me, I feel like maybe it is being new to this type of reality space. I don't know what it is. But to me, it would seem like if you know honestly that you have this major issue with this man, and maybe you don't feel comfortable talking to him because he is a man, why don't the four of y'all just have a sit down Ponderosa and really go into the discussion of what is your issue with this man? Can you move forward at least on the strength of the fact that you were on the show together and you guys may all have to be around each other? At some point in time, I don't know how long ago this was. I can understand too. Miss Joy, I'm not coming down on you for having your feelings. That's not my issue. I mean, the word hate is real strong, but my thing is, I understand. I've been in a band before. I the and the group broke up because of it, it was a very listen. The way I found out that the band was over, I didn't even know. My friends knew before I knew. Okay, how about that? How about that? So I understand. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I get that there's some deep rooted issues there, but girl, it's been, I don't know how many years it's been since this has happened, but did it happen yesterday? I mean, because when I think back on my experience, I'm no longer angry about it because I feel like God is good. Okay? God is good. And you look at where you are now and you look at where you were back then, and it's kind of like, hopefully the Lord has been blessing you. Okay, you still here, you still got the breath of life in you. You know what I'm saying? You're on TV, you done found the man of your dreams. God is good, so holding on to this grudge is, again, like they say, the good people say, it's like drinking poison and hoping somebody else gets sick. Meanwhile, Ashley has to correct her and be like, Joy, she was not spitting facts. Okay. She called the man shady. She called it like she said it. All right. So Joy is like, well, and Ashley kind of points out, I mean, and you ain't even say nothing. And Joy was like, well, you ain't say nothing either. And Ashley was like, it was not my fight. Why would I say anything about this situation? I'm totally on Ashley's side on this one, because especially coming in and not really understanding the situation, Ashley's more able to tell you what it looked like, okay? Versus being knee deep in the shade, okay? So Joy then says she felt like it was no stopping Sherelle once, she was off and running. And that may be true, but the fact of the matter is they was arguing about something you said. And so you stood by and watched that whole situation happen, knowing that you probably should have pulled Arena to the side and said, listen, Sherelle, me and you will have a further conversation about this, but now is not the time. Because I do agree with Joy in that maybe that wasn't the right time or the place, but at the end of the day, they arguing about something you said. So anyway, Arena feels like Sherelle can't take what people are saying about her husband. And I was like kind of clueless about that one. I'm like, why would she want to take that? I mean, like, for real, nobody on the show likes it when somebody talks about their husband or their wife. So why should she be okay with that? I don't understand that. But Arena does say that Joy and Black should have a conversation. I 100% agree with that. I don't know why it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't been scheduled yet. You know what I'm saying? Although when we talk to Sherelle, we get a little bit more information about whether or not that does happen. So go back and watch that interview. Um, but Joy is saying no, no, no. Mind you, this entire scene, there's a horse running around. If you didn't watch the episode, to let you know where this conversation was taking place and what was going on, there's a horse running around in the background. So Winter and Ashley meet up for drinks. Winter is hopeful for a great meeting without the football team. So I'm assuming, or I am left to assume, that the football team is supposed to be Alicia, who is Ashley's BF to the F. All right. Ashley dives right in with the fact that they don't like each other. They probably never will like each other. And they probably just going to despise each other for the rest of their lives. But they can at least be cordial, for the sake of Sherelle. Ashley doesn't want them to argue anymore. And to be quite honest with you, I have forgotten why they're arguing. I don't even know. Like, I know that if somebody said something about somebody, there was allegations, yada, 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 wooty, wooty, woo. this is like one of those arguments that you kind of feel like, oh, this is probably never going to end. However, comma, there's a certain joy that I get with watching Ashley and Winter try to have a conversation, try to get along. I put it on the thumbnail. It is like fire and ice. Okay. I feel like Ashley's the fire and Winter is the ice, if that, I mean, clearly. Okay. And watching these two reminds me of watching old school Nene and Sheree for some reason. I do not know. As I was watching them, I just was reminiscing about Nene and Sheree arguing about Tyrone from back in the day when then Sheree told her she needed to get her teeth fixed. And Nene said, they're done. They're done. They're done. Okay. And then she went boot, scoot, and boogieing out to that call with Sheree, tap dancing right after her. So anyway, Ashley just wants peace in the Middle East, and they go round and round the mulberry bush about whether or not they can get along. Ultimately, Winter is game for all the ladies getting together to put their issues out on the table and to finally dead the issues once and for all. Now, Arena heads to the wig designer who is designing the wigs for her wig line. They're doing a wig launch, and Joy is joining her. Now, she does tell Arena she needs help with the wedding. And Arena says to just go to the justice of the peace like she and Jamie. And Joy hasn't told him that she's hesitant because she also reveals that she's, her father's not going to be able to walk her down the aisle. So that is one of the reasons why she's also hesitant. I feel like she should tell him that. I understand where Joy is coming from with not necessarily wanting a big wedding, because when you plan a wedding and as it gets larger and larger, the wedding becomes more about everybody else than it does about you and your person that you're going to be spending the rest of your life with. It becomes more of a celebration and you planning for other people than sometimes than it is about you and this person that you have found, celebrating the fact that you guys are vowing to spend the rest of your lives together, come thick or thin, and heck or high water. So I do get what she's saying with that. And I understand it. I think that's a conversation she should definitely have with him and get some of these things off of her chest. As I watched Joy on the show, I will say that it feels like she has a compelling story. Y'all know I hate storyline. I feel like she would benefit from seeing or seeking counseling on the show. I say that as somebody who is looking from the outside in. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I am not a counselor. I am not an expert. But it seems as though there are several issues that are lingering in her life that are impacting her thoughts and actions today. So it would be interesting to see her take that journey, because I think that it would be a journey that could provide her with some healing for some of the situations that she's currently facing. Um, and I think it would be a joy to watch her go down that journey, because I think that we could all learn something from it, similar to what we've seen with Jamie and little Jamie. All right, so the men meet up for baseball. Quick relays to Clifton that Black is coming. And Clifton is like, who? And Quick, I am thoroughly enjoying Quick this season. I feel like has mastered what reality TV can be. I don't feel like he's doing too much. I feel like he is doing the right amount. And I feel like he is calling BS when he sees it. Okay. And that was BS that Clifton was spitting. Because Quick was like, cap, you capping. How you gonna act like you don't know who this man is when your wife got a big old issue with this man? Okay. And clearly you know who he is based on what she has told you. So to act like you don't know who he is like, bro, come on now. I was not expecting that from Mr. Clifton because I was thinking to myself, he seems kind of above all of the drama, but I mean, maybe not. I don't know. So Quick dives in when the men get there about, how messy the street signing got and how it's going to get handled a la Olivia Pope today. So Black says it's when he gets there, he realizes that all the talk is coming from Joy because she has a problem with the decision that he made. And Clifton is like, well, you sure that's it? You sure that's it? Clearly, you know this man. Clearly, you know this man. Clearly, you have been told what is going on. So apparently, from the perspective of Black, the group went on tour, as we have heard from Joy, with two of the original group's members leaving. One of those members decided to come back after the successful tour, Twink, because in the interim, Black was the de facto manager. Black did not want to be a manager. It was exhausting and tiresome, and he wanted to remain in the creative spot. But because apparently Twink is the person, the drummer that came back, was one of the people that helped do the managing. He was like, I need a break, okay? And I cannot continue along in the band if I don't have this support from somebody like Twink who can help us do what we need to do. That's what I got from him. So he gave them an ultimatum. If Twink ain't coming back, then I can't come back because I cannot do this anymore. All right. So Clifton says he knows that it's deeper than that. And Black said, well, you've been fed wrong information because people don't want to look stupid. I was like, okay, it's getting real. It is getting real. Black wants to know from Clifton, well, what is the issue? And Clifton is like, I don't associate with people who don't know what the problem is. See, that's a problem for me. Okay. That's a problem for me. Pun intended. Because here's the thing. If you have an issue with me and I don't know it, then I do not have an issue. You do. Okay? So until you tell me what that issue is, I cannot make up for that issue. I cannot own that issue. I can't have a conversation with you about that issue. You have put me at a disadvantage because I don't know what your issue with me is. Furthermore, and this is just as an aside that has nothing to do with this conversation, if you have an issue with me and I don't know you, oh, that is definitely your issue, okay? Meanwhile, the guys think that this whole thing is very petty, but but Black lets them know I don't have a problem with Joy, okay? Um and he says they need to meet, and even Clifton realizes that Joy is the person with the problem with Black, okay? He don't even really, I mean, it is her problem. Speaking of Joy, she is performing down to the someplace. Okay, she's performing. She's singing and singing. And so afterwards, she sits down with Arena, and she's not really looking forward to Ashley's say that ish Ponderosa. And so Arena wants to know, well, have you talked to Clifton about that wedding yet, girl? And Joy's like, I just came to dance. I do not want to talk about this wedding. But to Arena, she says, well, girl, no. Joy, another issue that I feel like I have is you, I think, need to start just telling these folks I understand reality TV can be a different beast, right? In real life, a lot of us handle situations, I feel like Joy handles them. And this is not a knock on Joy. When I'm having these conversations with y'all, I'm really having conversation, right? So let's look at let's make a thing is we're not going to make that into a thing, right? But we can have conversations because this is real life stuff that we sometimes deal with, right? I'm even guilty of this, not always saying exactly what's on my mind, okay? And then for some reason, subconsciously, I feel like we do this. We will expect the person to understand what it is that we are not saying to them. But honestly, the only way to, move forward and move the needle, especially in terms of story, is you got to say what's on your mind. Girl, tell Arena, leave you alone about this wedding, okay? Just tell her, leave me alone. Make it into a song. Make it fun. Do something that you can identify with. Arena, if you don't leave me alone about this wedding, okay? Because if you don't, I'm going to snap on you, okay? Just say it like that. You know, do what you got to do. And I can't even sing, okay? So this is the scene that frustrated me the most, all right? All right. Ashley gathers the ladies at the bartending academy. Mind you, I feel like I saw that it was in Baltimore, but there's one in, I believe that there's a school that's similar to this in, I know because I got a bartending certification from there before I moved to LA. So I was familiar with the scene, like with the scene and with the place and what it looked like, because this place looks like the same place in Arlington, right? So I wonder if it was the same bartending academy type school or whatever, because the name seemed familiar. But I got to go back and remember, because to be honest with you, I don't even know the name of the place that I got my certification from. But anyway, it's involving alcohol, so you guys understand. Forgive me. And so, apparently it was a dress code, all right, and Joy did not get the memo, so she arrived in her sneakers because she knows she was gonna have to make a quick and speedy run for the border. You know, I don't know if this is another one of those situations where a person has not realized yet that they are on reality TV, because listen, let me tell y'all something. Arena, I get it's. I know I'm a walking contradiction. I'm readily admit that to y'all. Because in previous videos, I talked to you about how in the scene in the therapy office, I felt like Jamie just showed up looking regular, like on a regular day. Like he wasn't the Jamie we typically see in the suits and the, you know, the fly outfits and stuff like that. He just was like, you know, it was like a dad and a Sunday. You know what I'm saying? You know, little Jamie wasn't like decked to the nines or nothing like that. And I like the authenticity of the scene. But because I also felt like it was appropriate, right? It's appropriate. That looked like a Tuesday at 4. All right. What you doing? Ain't nobody dressed up on a Tuesday at 4 unless you're in the office. So I feel like when you having a group event and the dress code is to dress to impress, I do feel like you should come to the event looking like how, you know, we expect our reality TV stars to look. We do like our ladies. I mean, it's no lie. It's no secret. We a lot of us are from the dynasty era. You know what I'm saying? We look back on the dynasty era of things, and that is what Housewives gives us. Not only Housewives, but you know, a lot of these reality TV shows where we are seeing black excellence. You know what I'm saying? And I use Housewives as a reference because I typically am reviewing Housewives. So forgive me for that, love and marriage people. But when I say that, what I mean to say is this: show up to the event looking like you're supposed to be at the event, right? And I feel like this is another one of those situations where somebody, a cast member, is coming a little bit too comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I know I want you to be comfortable. The church say come as you are, but they don't really mean come as you are. They mean come dressed up. You know, they mean come as you are if you ain't got the means to do anything else, to be quite honest with you. That's what I think. Okay, now I could be wrong. Y'all could drag me in the comments later, but y'all know, like I know, y'all done been to a church before, all right? As much as they say come as you are, okay, y'all know in the Southern Baptist Church, that means come in your church Sunday best, all right? That's what it means. Or throw on a robe. A choir robe, that I mean, all right? So anyway, you know, and so I previously also talked about British Williams showing up to the scene looking like she came from the gym. Now I know a lot of you guys pointed out where the government probably eyeing her. Okay, so that's a viable excuse, but there is no excuse for Joy showing up in these tennis shoes. Okay, Joy, it's not you. Nobody's gonna get you, baby. You ain't got to run. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to run and flee the scene. You know what I mean? You come in there, you make your drinks, say what you got to say, and then you leave. Okay, and you toss a couple back while you in there, right? Because we know you like some Patron because you asked that lady in the wig store to bring you some Patron in the back like she was a bartender. Okay, I was like, did y'all see that when she asked the lady for some Patron? The lady was like, well, this is a wig shop, honey. We don't do bar we don't do bar service up in here. So anyway, Miss Joy, just this is what I would suggest. Now I don't know how you do it, you know what I'm saying? But for anybody out there, if you're gonna do a reality TV show, just keep a black boot, a black high heel boot, a black heel in your car, and throw it on. Listen, that's the great thing about women. I feel like y'all could have on a pair of sweats and throw on a heel and look good. Okay. Anyway, I done went on a whole rant that was completely unnecessary, and I'm not taking that out of our video. So, meanwhile, everybody else arrives. Arena, Joy, Alicia, and and this is another little bit of shade from Miss Ashley. She was like, the important people are here. So she ended up taking photos with Joy, Alicia, and Arena. And that led me back to something that Arena said earlier in the episode, where she was like, she was talking about, this is an inference, but it felt like to me, was this a reference to what Arena was saying about Sherelle's friends not liking her? That's what I mean. I don't know. This again, I'm watching the show as a viewer, right? And I'm looking at the trail of clues that are being left for me to look at. So when that's being said in the scene, it makes me I have to wonder, like, are these dots connected, right? So anyway, Sherelle and Winter show up. Arena is shocked that Winter is there. Ashley is tired of the miscommunication. Winter wants to be able to invite all the ladies to her romancipation event. And according to the rules of this Ponderosa, everybody has 1 minute to say whatever they need to say to each other, and they have 1 minute only. Say whatever you need to say, and then forever hold your peace. So Arena wants to go first. And so Arena's statement is this: why is Winter here? Why is she here, Ike? Why is she here? What is she doing here? Who invited her? Why is she down there? Okay, that's what I really want to know. And that's where we end at. And hence my frustration. Because we saw this in the trailer, but I just knew. Ooh, we're gonna get the meat and potatoes of this event in this episode. And no, we did not. Okay. No, we did not. So yes, I am. I'm a little salty about it. I am. So listen, when we structure these episodes now, I'm gonna need y'all to not, feed me feed me an appetizer. Don't put on the menu something that you ain't serving me today. Okay? Don't do it. Don't do it, because I'm gonna be disappointed. Because I want my meal that was advertised. Okay? That's what I want. Now, with that being said, another good episode. It gave me a lot to talk about. We had a lot of ground to cover, and so I appreciate y'all for walking with me. And the people from Love and Marriage DC, if you watch this video, don't be offended. You know what I'm saying? And if you are, just curse me out when you see me, and we'll keep it pushing. All right. With that being said, I will catch y'all in the next video.